Desiree Hertak. We're talking about their latest work, Sound, Profound Experiences with Chanting, Toning, Music, and Healing Frequencies. We will take your calls with them this hour on Coast to Coast AM. NextGen Healthcare is a healthcare solutions provider. Suffered a data breach that exposed the personal information of more than 1 million individuals. Hackers had access to NextGen systems from March 29th to April 14th of this year, compromising personal information on such full names, addresses, birth dates, social security numbers, and if exploited, information to commit identity theft. It is so important to understand how cybercrime and identity theft are affecting our lives. Your personal information gets exposed so often, making it dangerously easy for a cyber criminal to steal your identity. Protecting your identity can be easy with LifeLock by Norton. LifeLock detects and alerts you to potential identity threats that you may not spot on your own. Loans taken out in your name. Crimes committed by thieves pretending to be you. And if you do become a victim of identity theft, a dedicated U.S.-based restoration specialist will fix it. No one can prevent it. For all transactions of all businesses, but it's easy to help protect yourself with LifeLock. Identity theft protection starts right here. Join now. Save up to 25% off your first year with promo code GEORGE. Call 1-800-LifeLock or head on over to lifelock.com. Use promo code GEORGE for 25% off. When banks fail, when bonds are devalued, and the stock market is in turmoil, you'll be glad you own gold, something you can hold physically in your safe at your house, and now you can also hold it in a retirement account. In fact, if you have an old IRA or 401k that's tied to a risky stock market, you can roll that over without spending an additional penny to a physical IRA in precious metals. And Birch Gold can help you own physical gold in a tax-sheltered account. I've known Birch Gold for a long time. They've been on the show several times. Just text the word COAST to 989898 to get a free info kit on gold. There's no obligation to educate yourself on how to diversify in this highly volatile market. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, thousands of happy customers, and countless 5-star reviews, you can trust Birch Gold to give you honest advice in protecting your savings with gold. Text COAST to 989898 and find peace of mind in gold. And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you. Doctors JJ and Desiree Hertak with us as we talk about their book, Sound. Desiree, tell us again about that story of the piano player who healed through her piano playing.
Right, you can see it online. She has it free for everyone. Of course, if you want to contribute, her name is Beth Green, and she's in her 70s. And because of the notes that she was playing intuitively, her husband literally lost his dementia, if I can say that. And I believe because it really does go back. You guys were talking right before the last program. You know, NIH did a entire study called Increased Gamma Brainwave Amplitude, and that's what we're talking about, the focusing. And one of the things that's so important, anyway, the rest of the topic is compared to control in 3 different meditation traditions. So there are ways to increase not just that meditative state of the alpha frequency and the Schumann resonance, but literally to increase the focus. And many of us getting older, of course, we don't maybe want to take the vitamins and the pills and the eating that we want. Playing music that enhances the gamma waves of our brain really can help. That's what she's shown, and she has, 10,000 followers now, and she just started when she was 73, and now she's something like 78.
Well, there must be a million stories like her all over the world, don't you think?
Absolutely. In fact, a friend of ours, Vera Brandis, she's a musicologist, but she also studied at Paris Places Medical University in Salzburg, and she said that people should be using music instead of Prozac. And she did a lot of studies, and so has many other places, professional places, that show that sound frequencies can relieve stress, can help heal the body in that sense, and can literally change the way you think. And I think that's so important because we're starting to get into states of fear. I think COVID definitely put us into states of fear. And really, if you were to relax and just meditated, a friend of mine, we were just talking today, she actually had COVID and her heart started like really pumping and she felt, oh, maybe I have to go to the hospital. And then she said, well, I don't know if I really need to do that. And she just lay down. And she went into this kind of meditative state with certain music and frequencies, and she was fine within 30 minutes. So, I mean, people need to, I'm saying, if you're very sick, please go to the hospital. You even have a disclaimer in this book to say, you know, we're not giving like a frequency that's going to heal you, but there are people all over the world that are using sound vibrations to literally change their bodies and change their minds.
And tell us, if you can, JJ, about the frequencies of like tuning forks and stuff and how that helps people.
Well, we've had great success in archaeological investigations. I wanted to mention the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine. Some years ago, I wrote an article with the young scholar by the name of Bruce Curtis on the medicine of light. It goes into the new applications of sound and healing behind the scenes. And a lot of this, of course, has had to wait its time and place to come out into the public. But for those interested in the professional work that's being done on the highest level, I recommend my book, Mind Dynamics in Space and Time, with the late physicist Elizabeth Rauscher, who wrote more than 450 scientific papers, when she worked at Lawrence Livermore and also the Stanford Research Institute, showing the reality of mind over matter and how the biorhythm can be active and how the pyramids are connected with bioacoustics, how there are biosignatures in the sacred geometries we find all over the world, how we're working with biophotonics now to reprogram our DNA. It can go on and on and on. There's just a whole avalanche of new information out there that has to open the hearts and minds of young people throughout the world to realize this is not the end game, the end story, the end of time. This is the activation of life into a whole new dimension. And contact, I believe, will happen and will be announced, and it will come really to those individuals who are biotransducers or mystical channels or vibratory creators with the larger landscape of how sound heals and brings people together.
And if I could just add back to the vibrations and effects, there's something called the Mozart effect, and basically, particularly listening to Mozart's sonata of two pianos, and it's parentheses K448 for those of you who are professional musicians, if you listen for 10 minutes, literally they had effects of relaxation, of spatial reasoning skills being enhanced. And we talked about this, in fact, in Georgia for a while, hospitals were instructed to give babies, when mothers went home from the hospital, certain CDs of classical music so that the baby would be enhanced by the music. And it was part of the free, gift from the state, so to speak. But it's amazing. It's been accepted on many, many levels that music and, like you said, tuning forks. A friend of ours has a sound healing bed that you lay on it. And she says, like, immediately, if you went to someone who was massaging, it would take you 10, 15 minutes after, a heavy day to relax. You lay on the down table and you relax in literally a few moments. And you add with that the tuning fork.
Let's go to the phones. Let's go east of the Rockies. Kathy in Long Island, New York, to get us started. Hello, Kathy.
Yes, hello, Mr. Norrie. Thank you for accepting my call.
Of course.
This is another great program you have on your show tonight.
Thank you, Kathy.
JJ and Desiree Hertek, my husband has memory loss and mental confusion, and I was wondering if there is a specific CD with sound vibration that I can purchase so he can listen to throughout the day and possibly get better.
Well, I like to say that everyone needs something unique in a certain sense. That's why we're trying to stay away from too much of saying, this can heal you or that. But check out Beth Green, as George was saying. You can find her, and she actually has music that she plays, and you can just try that for a while and even contact her, because she is one of the writers in the book. And the book is designed in a certain way. We wrote the first part, and then the publisher has invited others who have had experience with music, like Steve Halpert and our friends who did the Cymatics, which is Darren and Brad, friends from Australia, that's Sacred Resonance, and Beth Green and a few others, and many other friends and people. But she, is willing to communicate maybe help work, details out with you and things like that. So it's something that she's already done.
We also have a plethora of music for healing through a great composer by the name of Anya Carol Deshawn, who's worked with us, and her albums, which you can find listed on our website, keysofenoch.org, open up the inner channel, the inner consciousness to higher states of vibration, and I would call musical balance, medical balance in the whole aspects of self-realization that flows through situations of great medical difficulty. So I would recommend our website and the sounds that we presented through a variety of composers. This is an album called The Sacred Chant of the Session that hasn't been released yet, but we are working with some of the foremost musicians in the world who realize sacred music is important to go beyond normal situations of sound and provide. We need to go to higher octaves of vibration.
And I just like to add, like, binaural beats is something that the Monroe Institute has worked at. And what that is you put on headphones and you listen to two different beats. Like one is 428 going in the right ear and maybe 438 going in the left ear. And what produces in your brain is the 10 hertz. And what you really want to focus on for your husband would be the gamma ray, something that's creating somewhere between 30 and 100 hertz, and that would wake him up. But I hope, of course, we don't want to say we're healers on any of these levels, but check with Beth Green. It worked for her, and she's had a lot of success with many other people.
And most of the contacts, Desiree, they can find off your website?
Yeah, but you can just Google Beth Green. I actually did that earlier today, and she has
And she pops up.
Yeah.
Next up, let's go to Ed at Hatcherby, California. Is this our buddy, Dr. Ed?
Hi, George. I'm just thinking it's just 2 weeks to number 94, isn't it?
Absolutely. She's coming up.
Good. I hope you can have her on the air. When you were playing the plant music, Desiree will probably get a kick out of this, but I have to give a little bit of background. I ran the psychic laboratory Bill Tiller at Stanford back in the 1970s. And one of the people who worked with me, they were about to get married, and they asked me if I would play the organ for their wedding at the Stanford church. And I said, well, okay, sure. And then the bride-to-be said to me, well, I want you to play this particular piece of music. And it's something she used with her meditation group every week. They began their meditation group and ended it with this thing called the Star Body Suite. And your plant music you were playing earlier reminded me of this, because how it came about was a person had a heart attack, was out of his body, and while he was floating around until he came back in his body, he heard this music, and he was told to keep it in his mind, and it will make him heal faster while he's laying in bed, this music. And that's what was on the record that I had to try to duplicate. Of course, it must have come out pretty good. They liked it, but when you played the plant music, it reminded me, it was very close to this music he heard out of body that was on the vinyl, called the Star Body Suite. Now, I don't know how easy it would be to locate that, but he ended up, it sold a number of albums at the time because other people found that it gave them great healing.
Well, we truly believe that, and you're reminding me a little bit also of the experience of Eben Alexander. If you remember him, he was a neurosurgeon who had this near-death experience, and he went to several levels of experience in that near-death, and the last level, he heard the sound, which he's been trying to duplicate, like the whole rest of his life after he's come back here, because it was so profound. So there is this ability to literally tap into the universe, to heal the body, to transform everything. So this music is one of the keys, because we are vibrations. Everything is vibration. I hope they stay together after you help getting them married.
It's also key to interdimensional contact. Also, thanks for mentioning Bill Tiller. Professor Bill Tiller and I worked together when I was with the Academy of Parapsychology and Medicine in the early 70s. I met that George's famous aunt, Arlula, who was a parapsychologist, very renowned. So we have been working behind the scenes throughout the world, recognizing there's a soundscape of paranormal communication and also one that accompanies out-of-body experiences. So this is something that is very sensitive to the scientific community. So we say this cautiously, always work with that music that opens the heart and mind into a vibratory unity. The ancient Sanskrit scholars call it the Turiya, the mind-body, the heart-centered music of the spheres that puts us on a higher level of vibration.
Let's go to first-time caller Gary in San Marcos, Texas. Welcome to the show. Hi, Gary.
Howdy.
Good to have you with us. Go ahead.
Hey, George. Real quick, I graduated from the Dallas High School in 1969. I was the senior class president, and I just wanted, I know you're going to be there next week, and you'll enjoy the Dallas. Not a theater, wasn't working when I lived there, but my dad was publisher of the Dallas Chronicle, which doesn't exist anymore. But anyway...
Neat little town, huh?
Yes, great. You'll have a great time there.
Great, thanks.
I had a couple of questions for JJ.
Sure.
I've been listening to Tony Robbins' book, Life Force, and they talk about ultrasonic treatments for Parkinson's disease, and where they zero in on tubes on each side of the brain, and they actually cure Parkinson's, at least the tremors and the side effects of Parkinson's disease. I wondered if they'd ever heard of that.
JJ?
I've heard of it. There was a radio announcer here in the Northern California area with Parkinson's, and they made 2 insertions in the simple area of the brain, and using certain vibratory recipes were able to stop the Parkinson's situation, which is devastating to the human body. So there's the whole musicology of medicine that's so important. I can't go into detail, but I will simply say this is the new frontier of a new type of music therapy that's inexpensive, that's something that's local. The Dr. Ivanto showed us with positive or sacred music. We can stimulate the system, and we can even regenerate portions of the body. I've seen through certain music, as Dr. Robert Becker, his research has shown. So we begin our body electric, opening our minds to what I would call higher states of consciousness. In the Eastern tradition, the higher chakras. In the Near Eastern tradition, the overself or the Christ self. We must recognize that we are a human embodiment of a greater force of consciousness of divine origin in the universe, and that we can reclaim our cosmic birthright by the way we think, act, and celebrate the gifts of the divine human form.
Right, so I believe like this is electromedicine, and we're starting to develop the understanding of moving beyond chemical realities to electrical energy realities, and that is part of the healing modality. I think you see this in a little bit with like cymatics, and that is what Jenny had worked on, where you take a sound frequency and you're able to get a geometry. And if you're able to really understand how sound and geometry work within the cell, then you're able to literally transform. The problem is they're still developing it. That's why I mentioned the Novo Cure, but there's others as well. But when they really get to know how the frequencies work in the brain and how the electrodes function around the body, then you will be able to heal the body through all forms of sound vibration. And again, check out Novo Cure as well. That's only for cancer. It's not for Parkinson's, but it's the concept of using multiple frequencies, tuning into exactly where it's off. And maybe you could be one of those people that literally say, well, this works for me, this sound frequency, and this one doesn't. I mean, this is really where we're at. We're in a growing stage of using electromedicine.
Let's go back to Gary for his second question. Go ahead, Gary.
My wife is from Lima, Peru, and I just wondered if you had anything with sound related to Machu Picchu.
Definitely, we were exploring Machu Picchu. We were exploring Arequipa, to the area in southern Peru many years ago, and we recognized that the indigenous cultures still maintain a higher sound resonance in their contact with the Star Nations, their Star people. This is another subject that George and I can go into some other time, but we believe that there is a paranormal frequency that the indigenous use, particularly in Peru and in Brazil, I think these